Thank you for joining us for what is our first CX Success session of the year. We were hoping early on to get these back face to face, and I'm happy to say we're very, very close. By this time next month, we will hopefully all be together up on the Gold Coast having a great time celebrating what was one of the biggest years in e-commerce. Today, we're going to discuss modernizing your e-commerce store in 2021. Before we go on, I'm just going to give a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, a big thank you to our sponsor, Unbxd. Without the support for this whole series, we wouldn't be able to do it. If you've got any questions for the panel throughout the next hour, down the bottom, you'll see a Q&A little text box there. Jump in there, chuck your questions in, and we can go from there. If you've got any issues, please use the chat functionality, and the team will be on hand to answer anything with support. Now, let's jump about the elephant in the room. 2020, what a year. I think it was the biggest leap for e-commerce ever. Let's be honest. E-commerce can be argued that it started back in the day with the horse and cart, and someone would go along with the catalog and people would choose what they want, and then 3 months later it'd come back again. But e-commerce, as we know it, with online in the internet age, has never seen such growth. You could argue that in the last 12 months, we've grown 10 years. So through that, consumer behavior changed. Even my 90-year-old grandma is shopping for books on her iPad. We saw Australia Post deliver 52 million packages in December alone, which it may sound obvious to say, that's 52 million orders from various retailers. Today, we're going to jump into how you handle that, how you can make sure you're equipped to continue the growth in 2021, because we know one thing, we're not going backwards. So today we've got an all-star panel that's going to talk respectively how they handled the growth, how they shifted their operations, and ensure their e-com store had the tech behind it to continue to boom. So I'm going to ask if Lauren, Sandradee, and Adeel can join us and turn on their audio and video to kickstart this conversation. Brilliant, thanks guys. First of all, thank you for joining us. I think our audience is about to be blown away by what can only be described as an all-star. We'll go around the virtual room first and get you guys to introduce yourself, your role and the company, and if you're a little bit of a backstory. Adeel, we'll go alphabetical order. I'll start with you if you don't mind.
Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, it's really nice to have here, and what amazing animation you guys ran in the start. I really loved it. Yeah, my name is Adeel, and I am head of e-commerce technology for foodservicedirect.com. It's a retail B2B and B2C website, especially focused on operators, restaurants, retailers, and consumers.
Brilliant, thank you. Lauren, we'll throw it across to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Kushna. Very excited to be here today. I'm a customer success manager with Unbxd. Unbxd is a complete product discovery platform, helping to power site search, category pages, product recommendations, and PIM. So excited to be here and looking forward to the discussion.
Perfect, thank you. And one of our very own retail council members, Sandradee, thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming online to listen to us today. And I'm Sandradee Makejev. I'm the CEO and founder of Frock. I started my business 10 years ago at Bondi Beach Markets with a few dresses. And I think probably my only goal was ever to sell 10 dresses online, 10 dresses a day online. And that's a goal that was a long, long time ago, and we sell hundreds, if not thousands. But I'm still a self-funded brand. Basically, Frock is all about clothes for adulting. So adulting doesn't have to be boring. It's fun. So we want people to feel playful, beautiful, amazing in our dresses. And 2020 was a crazy year for us. And I can't wait to discuss it today.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, like I mentioned before, we've got a nice diverse angle here. Adeel, I don't know if you mentioned the part of the Unilever group as a whole. So we've got the big corporation. We've got Sandradee, the self-funded startup, quite in that giant stage right now. And then Lauren, the tech superstar. So I'm going to start off with, I'll throw to you, Sandradee, first of all. How was 2020 for you? What kind of site traffic did you see? And besides the obvious pandemic, what was different about last year and how did it impact you and the customers?
So last year, I actually didn't think I was going to have a business in March. I was sitting around thinking I'm going to have to move out of this office. We're going to have to probably work from home. I remember 90%, we were down 90% in sales for a couple of weeks. And yeah, it was a different story to where I'm sitting today. we grew 100% over that period as well. And we had a round of redundancies in March too. So we went from 52 staff back down to 32. So we had to really shrink to the size of a pea immediately and basically batten down the hatches and try and figure out how we're going to survive to when the market was going to recover. So we had no idea that we're going to grow 100% over COVID. And that was like a big surprise for us. We our sessions were like over 1 million for December. So that's like almost like a 45% growth year on year. And we had our first $1 million week during Black Friday as well, where we took 12,000 orders and shipped 23,000 units. Wow. So at the same time, we'd done a lot of work previously the year before thinking that 2019 was going to be great, but that wasn't because of the bushfires and then the pandemic. So in some parts we were like totally ready, and then other parts that I suppose we'll discuss later that we definitely weren't ready for, like the team. Like we were back up to a head count of 69, I think, as of yesterday.
Nice. It's good to see. And some familiar faces coming back, was it?
Yeah. So we actually reversed most of the redundancies after 2 weeks. And what was sad was actually we had like a lot of international students who were amazing at their jobs, like students, and they all had to go back. So yeah, we've been hiring. My HR spent a whole year just hiring people. We felt like we're just always new starters every week.
Oh, there we go. It's good to see these sort of stories in the year that we've had. Adeel, what about yourself? I know you mentioned we talked about this in our sort of prep call, but being in the US, things have been quite hectic, some lockdown, some places not in lockdown. What was 2020 like for you?
Yes, actually, we were in the East Coast, close to the center of the epidemic, New Jersey, New York area. And, one of the, initially in February 2020, we had no idea this is coming in March. And we were not really prepared for this. But as soon as we understood that there is this thing happening with us, we started planning ahead of our time, and it was clear that this thing is going to stay with us for quite some time. So by considering that, at one point, personally or individually, everybody was in a panic mode, and we had a lot of stress. But when it comes to business or work, we think that we actually overperformed and was ready and scale our platform or solutions that we have for our e-commerce website. Our sales have increased six times, which is pretty high. I would say our 2022 stretch targets were actually converted into the baseline targets for 2020. So, that's what happened with us. So we were really excited to, from the technology point of view, my role was to make sure that, we are up and running and we are scalable. And thanks God, we are done with 2020. I'm really happy.
I think there was quite a few relieved people on January 1st this year. Lauren, you've got a little bit more of a different perspective around 2020, but it's always like, I always enjoyed the kind of asking the vendor solution provider on these panels, what did you see as certain trends, and how were you affected from the tech side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there are a lot of changes in 2020. Initially, when we started to see the shift in March, it was almost, instant and immediate that online consumer behavior was completely changing. So from our perspective, we wanted to immediately engage with our customers and just, how can we help them? How can we navigate through this time so that, business doesn't suffer, right? So what we did is we started to have kind of like a series of these mini COVID, like post-COVID meetings, right? Where we interacted with our customers by bringing in our data science teams. And we started sharing very detailed vertical specific insights and giving that to our customers so that they could make better business decisions with regards to promotions and campaigns and so on. So that was just kind of the first part of it. March, April, May. And then as it kind of continued on, we started to see that traffic trends were starting to pick up quite a bit. and they were picking up well before the holiday period, right? So a lot of our customers were starting to see what would be like Black Friday traffic or Cyber Monday traffic well before that time. So it was important to us to also give our customers the confidence with just overall infrastructure stability, and really offer a true kind of like fail-safe solution just to make sure that we can handle, all of the traffic that would be coming through. And then again, just give our customers that peace of mind, knowing that yes, we are going to experience unprecedented traffic, but we're here to support you. We have solutions in place, and it won't go unserved. So that's kind of what was different for us and how we were able to help our customers and navigate that whole experience.
Definitely. It's interesting, isn't it, when we talk about increased demand? I was talking to a retailer the other week, and they had just built a store, ironically on Magento. I know Sandradee and Adeel are both on Magento here, that they had a capacity for 500,000 visitors at any one time, and they had to implement a wait system because there's just so much demand going on at the moment. I guess kind of using that example, that we, like I mentioned at the start, we kind of have grown 10 years, especially in the Australian market, from where we were to where we are now in regards to e-com. I'm going to Sandradee, was your site equipped to handle that? And if yes, no, what did you kind of change to kind of help with weather that increased demand?
I was lucky because was like last year was the 2020, but in 2019, I had already started like upgrading. So we moved to cloud, and we also like a cloud server, Magento cloud, and then we also moved to .digital as well, because we were expecting to have like a killer Black Friday in 2019 and an amazing Christmas. But then when the bushfires started, it kind of killed it all off. So when it came around to this year, all we had to do pretty much was like upgrade to the latest version of Magento, and we were ready. So whatever the customer threw at us, that was the part that we could handle. Like, sure enough, we had like site issues and different things from time to time that, it can happen any day. But I suppose the right thing is to make sure you have like a really amazing agency to work with. And I'm also lucky that I found a really good agency as well. So I feel like I was quite lucky, but there was still challenges like that, like things break, or we had like one of our payment partners, like for some reason, dropped out over Black Friday week. I won't name which one, but we couldn't get that up and running again. It was something to do with like the connector. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I think I'm so used to having problems now. The only thing that really bothers me is if the whole site goes down like for longer than like, 10 seconds, because that's kind of a weird feeling, because it's been rolling online for like years and years, like 10 years. So if it goes down, that's the main thing. But yeah, there's always stuff that's going to crop up, but I feel like I was lucky that I'd done all the right work earlier, like over a year ago, to set myself up.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting, right? If no one's going to close your door, the front door of your physical retail store, are they? So that importance of having it online.
Exactly. But the thing was, it was the back end stuff, all the other pressure, the fact that we didn't have an inventory management system, and the pressure that put on our like inwards team, the buying team, the creative team. And that was our big challenge that we had to overcome. Interesting.
So it was I guess that back end inventory side, one of the biggest changes for you technology wise?
Yeah. That's at the top of our list this year. Is our number one thing is to roll out a WMS. So we're currently working on that as well, because we cannot go through another Black Friday. We made it through, like, mind you, like we have very, very good manual systems. Like we've had like some of the brightest minds through the business, but we could not update that piece yet because we had to do all the other pieces first. And we've had the brightest minds through, and they're like, wow, what you actually do with manual systems and Google Docs and spreadsheets and good processes is phenomenal. And I just like toured 2 people earlier this week, and they're just like, wow, this is really amazing. But now our next big thing is to roll out a WMS.
Interesting. Adeel, what about yourself? I know you mentioned before a few different things, but was your store ready, and what new technology did you adapt to kind of get through 2020?
Yeah, actually, so the one thing with the e-commerce is we are never ready. That's what I used to say, because there is always adoption. Things are changing on a daily basis, so you have to make sure that you are ahead of your competition, ahead of your curve, because any new incentive, for example, subscription is a new model, right? So Amazon is adopting it. Now we want to adopt it because it's going to help us retain the customer. So by finding the problems, we need to find out the solution at the same time. So I'm always abreast with the new technologies. What we did really last year in 2020 is we went headless. Even though we have Magento, but I have developed a front end in a totally React based application, which really helped us to get rid of the issues that Sandradee was mentioning because of the downtime. We can control it and we can go really hybrid on this. The other thing that we did is like we work with our partners on on-site search, which is luckily Lauren is here from Unbxd. So we had great experience last year with them. And, we optimized, we worked with them. We figured some ways to improve and reduce the out of stock items from the listing, from the searching. That really helped us, take care of our customers and give them what they're looking for.
Great. You mentioned you went headless. It's a big topic in Australia at the moment. What was the catalyst for you to go down that path? And I guess what was the strategy?
Yeah, the strategy is to do not depend on third parties as much as you can, basically. And the idea is to, the trend with e-commerce is like there are 3 or 4 major platforms. For example, Salesforce, Demandware, Hybris from SAP, and then there is Magento from Adobe. And so far, like my experience with Adobe is like, as we were one of the pioneers for the cloud as well. So we try to stay ahead of the curve by adopting their technology as soon as possible. And still like Adobe, since they acquired the company 2 years ago, they are still learning and they are improving their support system. We as an e-commerce shop, we cannot wait for the support to get back to us. So we want to control that front end in our hands. So for that reason, we had moved to the headless approach.
Great. And you mentioned you're working with Unbxd as well. Did you find the search functionality kind of came into play a lot more with with people not wanting to go out to the shops or anything like that? They were doing with this supermarkets. Did you find the search functionality became a big driver to increase your conversions?
It's definitely improved over the last second and third quarter, which was really amazing because one interesting thing on our website was we didn't have increase in our traffic, but we have increase in our conversions. So our traffic was increased almost I would say from 10 million to 12 million per year, but the conversion has improved tremendously. So we went from 0.75 to 1.5 conversion rate, which was amazing. And again, part of it is really having a great on-site search partner. Great.
It's a good little segue there, Lauren. I can assure everyone this is an infomercial there. I was just quite curious on that one there. Yeah. In regards to from what you saw with your partners and your different retailers, what were some of the strategies that you saw people adopt to get from that maybe not quite ready to in a better position?
Yeah, I think I can answer on behalf of some of our customers who used search and merchandising to kind of suit their unique business needs. So obviously, for example, Adeel here has been using AI and powerful autocomplete, which lets customers find what they're looking for on the site, right? Then we have, another customer of ours, World of Books, who uses merchandising techniques quite extensively to set up marketing campaigns. And that's actually quite common with a lot of our customers as well. And then we have other customers, like furniture vertical, who leverage our AI models to set up contextual search on their e-commerce store. So they're, using models such as named entity recognition, just to better understand each shopper's intent by understanding every single word in that particular search query. So again, these are just some of the, ways that we've seen customers modernize their stores.
Brandon, I guess going back, you mentioned that intent around picking up on each word there. Do you have any more information around, I guess, does that sort of application work in all scenarios, or is there some scenarios where it's probably not the best?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
With the kind of, you mentioned that last point around finding the buyer intent and really analyzing each individual word. Was there any kind of, I guess keywords is probably a topic that everyone talks about. Did you find there were some applications where that just didn't work, or is it one of those things that was kind of quite successful across the board?
Oh yeah, I would say it's really quite successful across the board. That's kind of the foundation of what our solution is, right? So it's going away from that simple kind of like text pattern match where customers get frustrated. They're getting too much product return because this search solution might not understand what that intent is or understand keywords, and one word is meant to be a color attribute, right? So I think overall it's more of a successful approach.
Brilliant. Perfect. Kind of now, if we kind of move towards kind of what we learned, what we're doing now, how are we taking those learnings towards 2021 to modernize our stores? Sandradee, you mentioned getting a WMS. Is there any other key initiatives you're looking to run in 2021 or key strategies that you're working on?
One of the big ones that we're really excited to like roll out the next couple of months is loyalty. So we're like 11 years in. We'll be a $20 million business this year, and we still don't have a loyalty program. So like that's something that I really want to roll out, because it's a big journey being self-funded. You can't like just be like, okay, I'm gonna have all of these things. You kind of got to bend and turn with the twists over the years and pick which shiny toys you're going to play with that year and implement them and test them and settle them in and phase it in, because I like being self-funded. Yeah, loyalty is like a really big one for me, the WMS, and we're also doing a US store as well. So we've got quite a lot of big things going on this year, which is exciting. And then we're also doing a dogware store as well, because what did everybody get during COVID? A puppy. And I've been meaning to do it for a long time, because I created this whole persona, Fashion Dog Sydney, a few years ago. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick that up and I'm just going to run and do a dog store, because I want to try something different. Probably a big thing about the big learnings from 2020 was to kind of go back to basics, because we had to shrink to the size of a pea and take out everything. So it didn't make everybody address everything that wasn't working or wasn't right, and everybody had to make hard decisions, right? So basically, I kind of went back to the way that I was growing the business before I got like a huge head count and all the rest of it, and it was probably one of the best things. So we went back to a lot of like team catch-ups. So we call ours like the leadership team. So we catch up at the beginning of the week, the end of the week, and we have trade in the middle as well. And we call that the RTB, the run the business team. So basically, we're always looking at all the opportunities and problem solving, being agile. And that was like when you didn't know what was going to happen next week. Like we literally had RTB every day at 11 a.m. But from that, we've kept it just twice a week. But every day we were sitting down, analyzing what we're going to do next, what promos, what was working, what wasn't. And everybody was like in it together. And that collaboration and like very agile problem solving, we had that before, but not as intense as that. We've kept that into meetings each week, which is really amazing. Another thing that we did was we were reforecasting every week during COVID, and we've kept that going forward to like every fortnight we reforecast, like shuffle all the numbers, make sure everything's correct for the next 6 weeks. And then every month we do the next 3 months as well. So it means that we've already done a yearly forecast, but we're always shuffling so we can look at every opportunity, everything that's going on in the business as well. And because we can be quite reactive as well, like we can like do production, like we have like have a 3 to 4 week turnaround as well. So we can like order more things and I just love the fact that we can always pick up different opportunities. And we broke down all of our bigger campaigns. So instead of having such big campaigns, we broke them down into lots of smaller little stories. So we're constantly pushing out new campaigns every 2 weeks. And we also have a more robust promo as well, because we needed to well, we needed to actually get sales at the time, and we've actually taken that and slowed it down a little bit because it just worked really well for our customers. So there's look, lots of different things, like we extended returns, we do where the customer can buy a style in like 2 different sizes and they can refund the other size as well, because we're a store credit business, but we're happy to do refunds if you want to buy 2 different sizes of the same style on the order, which was a great policy. We also uploaded all of our garment measurements as well online. So we want to make sure that people can have more information, because it's one of the most asked questions, the garments. And when this all first started, we went through and looked at every piece of communication we had with the business and made sure it was empathetic and friendly and approachable. So yeah, lots of like, that's just a small list. We did like heaps of things.
I mean, from that list, there's a few questions I've got that I kind of want to go just like jump on. First of all, the dog wear, matching outfit for mum and dog.
I want to do that. So that's like further down the track. So we're actually launching with like just a sweater and jacket collection, which I think will be obviously Fashion Dog Sydney tune, because my belief is that I remember a few years ago when they were like changed the laws, the bylaws or something in apartments where you could have 2 pets up to the size of 14 kilos, because they realized as a community, people talked that had animals. And I go across the road to the park in the afternoon at like 6 o'clock, and there's like 30 dog owners of small dogs, and I have like a chihuahua, so she's like running around with all the other dogs, and it's so fun. But what do people do? Like people in the city, right? They're buying got all these pets for COVID. So what do they want to do? They want to buy items for them to make them look cute and probably express their personality. So whatever your fashion personality is, you'll be able to buy a sweater from Fashion Dog Sydney. That's what I'm kind of.
Awesome. And then if we go back to you mentioned you were redoing the forecasting and all these every week and every day, every month, for the next 3 months.
Yeah, I love it.
Were you doing any what tools were you using for that data management? Because that's a lot of data you've got to be pulling in and assessing everything there.
I also have a beautiful piece of software that we use, which is called Style Arcade, but that's more so for like looking at sell-through and stuff. So quite a few years ago, I got myself in consultant planner, which is probably one of the best things I ever did for my business. So it's called many different things in different businesses. Some businesses it's called an OTB or WYSI, so it's open to buy. So it's like literally a big piece. It's a huge spreadsheet. It's massive, but it's so beautiful. It takes about a year to probably build all the data in it. And then you've got all your previous years. You can see it any 1 second, like all information and data gets fed into that. And it's every week we sit down and we like look at it and we're like, the ASP, like every single piece of information, we forecast everything, and then we're constantly adjusting it and looking at it and looking for those opportunities as well. I will show it to you, Ash, when you come out one day. It's one of my favorite pieces of data that I get to look at each week. So, and I'm a big believer in always knowing, because I'm self-funded, I have to know exactly where we're at, what our liabilities are, what our cash flow is, what money we've got in the bank, like what our costs are, what are the percentages as well. Like if I don't know that information, and I have a meeting with finance, like our CFO on Monday after lunch every week, because I need to know exactly where I am. So it means that all decisions for the rest of the week are backed by that, knowing that information. So yeah.
Awesome.
Numbers, the most important thing.
Adeel, have you got a WYSI or an OTB as well going on in the business?
Our priorities are really based on the personalization for 2021, and we have 2 different segments, B2B and B2C, and we're trying to cater both of them with transparency, with different type of promotions and pricing for them, because they're 2 different segments. So for us to have one platform, it's challenging, but at the same time, we like this and our customers like this. And we are working on personalization. At the other side, as Sandra mentioned, the back office order management systems and automations is one of the most important thing for us, 2021. Uh, we we have seen in 2020, a lot of load was on the back office, and finding the people who are reviewing the orders and placing the orders. Uh, and we think that there is opportunity for us to automate those systems, and which will hopefully reduce the cost for us, and at the same time make us ready for any other future uncertainties like this.
What sort of strategies or methods are you going towards with that personalization? Is there any in particular key areas you're looking to improve on?
Yes, like recommendations based on what you're looking at is very important. Within B2B, there are different segments like bakeries versus restaurants versus retailer, our schools and offices. All those people are buying in bulk, and they want to make sure that they're getting the products on time, especially the PPE products are we have seen a lot of boost in last year. So by looking at the analytics that we get from tools like Unbox, we can build a system where it's showing them the recommendations based on their segment that they are interested in and they might be looking to buy. So a lot of work is being done there. We had a great success last year. Maybe it was not organic, but this year our focus is how to convert the pandemic trends into more organic trends this year.
Kind of, I guess, following on from that, we've got a question from the audience here. We saw rapid growth, and I think this is quite relevant to you, Adeel. We saw rapid growth around home products throughout last year, obviously in relation to the COVID lockdowns. How do we plan and sustain growth in a world where our products may not be as needed online?
Yeah, I think for us is really the customer experience. We really want to make sure that the customer, today's customer is really a smart customer. He understands exactly what he's looking for online. They don't want to waste their time because time is money. And for us is building and modernizing our platform is making sure that we look at our competitors, and when it comes to e-commerce, everybody looks at Amazon. So yes, we do look at Amazon and we learn from them, but also make sure that we are understanding our customer better than anyone else. So I believe that our goal is to make sure that we stay ahead of curve. We have a transparent platform where the pricing for a B2B customer versus a B2C customer is transparent. It's not like you don't know what is the wholesale price of this product. You will see the wholesale price of this product.
See, that's a great call, that one, actually. I guess going on with that, you mentioned the CX side of the customer experience, and I'm going to jump to this next question. Lauren, I think you might be great to kick us off here. Being a data hub that Unbxd is, how have you guys seen consumer behavior change over the last few years, and in particular the last 12 months being a catalyst to get, like I mentioned at the start, my grandma on her iPad for the first time? What sort of trends have you seen in consumer behavior from an overarching point of view?
The changes that we've seen in consumer behavior.
Yeah, are you seeing as much smarter in regards to, I guess, are they searching in more specific ways? Is it quite broad? Is there any sort of interesting points to you from that side of things?
Yeah, I think to Adeel's point, the consumer, they're really savvy. There's not a lot of patience, right? So you need to be able to give them what they're looking for, right? And they're very specific for what they want, especially when they're utilizing, say, the search box. That's a very high intent query right there, right? So yeah, I think just overall, it's important for e-commerce businesses to adapt to the consumers today and really help, get them to the products that they're trying to search for at a very high level of precision. But then also kind of going back to the question, I wanted to bring this up as well, the question that just kind of came through on the Q&A with regards to, products and just seeing that shift in what the consumer is looking for. It's important to also have, that kind of intelligent solution that can give you, freshness and diversity of products. So dynamically re-ranking the products for you on the page, your category pages, your search pages, and kind of taking that manual effort out, and kind of that guesswork, and letting, a solution like Unbxd do that for you. So that's kind of something I wanted to touch on there when that came through.
Yeah, definitely. It's great it's a great point, I guess. It comes down to that, I guess, Adele mentioning the personalization angle. Sandradee, have you seen, I guess, talking around the savvier consumer and everything, have you seen it change your customer shopping patterns?
Yeah, what was really interesting was like, we're like, oh, we're a 25 plus brand. We're like 25 to 35 is our core audience. And then our customer drops off at 42. But what really surprised me very much is the under 25s, we had a 240% increase. Wow. Into COVID. And I don't know why, but I was just like, oh, wow, they really want to shop our stuff. That's nice. And then because they weren't going out and stuff, so they weren't going out clothes, they wanted more like casual offering. And like we always had an 18 to 24-year-old customer, but I suppose the better way to say would be want to dress more girl next door rather than yeah. So anyway, so we had all this huge increase. So we've actually created a different segment for those guys. So we look after them and we make sure we're serving them. We've actually added them into our buying strategy as well. Also, customers becoming more confident to shop online. So a lot more older people that were unwilling to shop online before because they were worried about security or that kind of thing, were forced to shop online. So I think that's a marketer's dream too, especially for like products 50 and over as well. And I can see that would happen because like you look at what happened in China with SARS. So in 2003, they forced people to shop online. So that's why China as a whole was able to make that massive digital leap in a shorter period of time, just like us, like 10 years of advancement in only a few months. So I think it's a great time to be alive, and there's like more people than ever to market to with your e-commerce store and your offering, and like there's lots of different things you can do.
It's a great point, actually. I didn't even think of that SARS example, how whole nations can shift. Adele, I want to ask about, this might be a little bit of a deep question, but I think given what you've just been talking about, personalization and the different angles you're looking at, do you think an over-dependence on certain technologies contributes to businesses becoming impersonal and detached from what the consumer wants? And if yes, how are you planning to maintain a balance between your tech and then ensuring that the e-com store still has that personalization and personal feel?
Yeah, I always look for three things in a third party, that I'm working on. Is scalability is one important thing for me, and whether the third party system that I'm using or dependent is scalable or not. And you never know when the next pandemic will happen. So, we need to be ready for that. Secondly, adaptability, how easily the third party can really adopt the modernization or the new trends and patterns that we are expecting from our customers. And the third is the agility. And agility is important because we have seen companies going out of business by totally different disruption, and like Apple took over Nokia, or digital cameras, and Samsung took over the Kodak. And this will continue like this. And there will be parties. In our e-commerce case, there are people like DoorDash, or there are Instacart, who might become a retailer later on. So you just not only need to look at your competitor, but you also need to look at the whole landscape or the whole vertical that you're working with. So I think, again, when you're looking for technology solutions, always make sure that you have a stable, strong partner which is working with you. From the technology point of view, I always make sure that we go headless and we have connections or integrations through APIs, because it gives us more leverage and we can do so many different things, and we are not dependent on the third party. So I think those are the main things that I would really look for.
Definitely. I guess that whole independence is probably a key thing from that message. Lauren, what have you seen has in this sort of space, I guess, have you seen a trend where you've been working with your customers or your suite and they've seen that kind of they were using too many different technologies that really they could just be consolidated and they were losing track of their customer? Is that something that you've been seeing on the regular?
Yeah, I think just sometimes when you're using a lot of different third-party solutions, it can be quite difficult to manage and track at that point. And I think one of the things that really our customers appreciate is just the cohesiveness of all four of our offerings that we have. So knowing that when you do, because we offer our customers a very hands-on, and Adeel probably knows our console access. So through there, it's really just kind of a one-stop shop, if you will, that you can navigate through the search platform, get all the data and insights that you need, any type of reporting available through there. You can also click over and then look at browse your category pages and then, product recommendations. So I think, when you look at it like that, it just becomes, again, a more cohesive unit to manage all the products rather than kind of piecemealing them out and hoping that they all give you the same end result that you want, which is more conversions and happy customers.
100%. That's what we're in the game for, right?
Right.
It's got a good point. Actually, it flows into this question here around artificial intelligence and machine learning based tech is used for personalization and product discovery for a lot of e-com stores at the moment. I know you mentioned it yourself, Adeel, with online stores wanting to personalize their on-site shopping experience to the core. I'll throw this to the audience, to the three of you, if any of you want to answer this. First of all, how are you seeing others solving the issue of personalization around that B2B and B2C profiling of shoppers through artificial intelligence or machine learning based tech?
Yeah. Again, yes, it's all based on the data you collect from your historical information that you collect from your customers, and then you have to have the algorithms that are running on top of it. For the on-site search, that's why we went with Unbxd. The reason is it's kind of off-the-shelf solution. I don't have to reinvent the wheel, and I don't have capacity to build a solution which is optimized and scalable, and at the same time, it's a speedy solution. So I think going back to the topic of building yourself versus looking for a third party which already is successful for you, I think you need to look at what are the pros and cons and then make a decision on that. It's not always good to reinvent the wheel because at the end of the day, you're not Amazon, which business is more into the platform side rather than selling the products. Yeah,
definitely. Lauren, I guess being the resident expert on this sort of thing, have you seen a trend there?
Yeah. I think just kind of like to what Adeel is saying, just having a scalable solution, and kind of my sentiments earlier is that what we do with Adeel and other customers too is that we kind of take any of those manual efforts off of your plate or any of the guesswork out of it, just trying to enhance the solution. That's where we kind of come in and do it for you. And the best part is that we're constantly gathering consumer behavior data to constantly enhance the algorithms and their performance. And then also to that point, something that really helps quite a bit is having those vertical based algorithms or experiences, if you will. So we have, I think it's like over 500 plus different, vertical specific use cases and libraries and whatnot. So it really just gives your customer a highly tailored experience that maybe sometimes isn't so feasible to do hands-on yourself, right? So.
Yeah, and actually one good point, I think, just to follow on what Lauren said, I think one key thing that I really look at e-commerce is to understand the KPIs that we get from any third-party solution. if you don't get the KPIs, then it's very hard for you to understand, where the business is coming from and what are the source of that. So whenever you're building a solution, an e-commerce platform, especially, make sure that you understand the key performance indicators, and that's it's visible, it's in front of you, and you see them, and then adopt as you see them.
Perfect. Awesome. You say, Lauren, did you want to jump in?
Oh, I was just gonna, just to kind of go off of that again too with Adele. That's something that we do quite a bit too, is working with our customers and our data science team just to get very granular with those KPIs, and just working alongside to just understand them and give actionable insights on that data, on how they can make, immediate business decisions and impact. So that's just something else that we kind of help to assist our customers with increasing, again, sales and conversion along the way.
Perfect. That's the aim of the game, right? Sales and conversions.
Yep.
We've got a couple of minutes left. I've got 2 questions I want to kind of sum up the conversation with. Sandradee, I'll throw with yourself. If you look at completely modernizing your store in the next 3 years, what's the path to effectively and holistically solving all your problems look like? I know it's a crystal ball, but what's the dream case scenario?
I was thinking about this, and I don't really have a crazy answer for you, but it sounds crazy when I say anyway. It's like, I feel like 3 years is way too far to plan ahead after what happened next year. I think last year, what happened last year just kind of blew me away, and I was like, you know what? I just really like to always focus on the next 12 months. I know it seems quite short, probably especially in the corporate world too, but because I'm like self-funded and we're agile, and there's also, it's like I didn't expect to be where I am 12, in the last 12 months, let alone the 12 months before that, the 12 months before that. But I still know that I always care about the customer and like the team and the things that we're trying to achieve, and that we want to obviously go global as well, and just improving that experience. Like I never really think of myself as a trailblazer, but I was always an early adopter of both like Magento and Afterpay and a whole bunch of other different things. And like, we use some amazing tech, A/B tasty. So it means that we're constantly always looking at ways that we like looking at the customer behavior and like spinning up different experiences and stuff, and like, how do we convert them better? So I'm always just really focused on really heavily on the next 12 months, but because we're constantly, and the beginning of the year too, like January is where I come in, like after Christmas, we've got through that busy period that depends which hemisphere you're in, whether it's the first quarter or the third quarter. But like, that's the time when we do all our planning. So we sit down and we work on all our initiatives, what we want to do for the year, and getting ourselves set up and signed off. Then the next quarter is basically getting stuck into it, and the third quarter is rolling it out. And then the end of that third quarter and the fourth is all about trading the hell out of everything that we've got going on. And then we start again. So there's really no like downtime at St. Frock, because the downtime is where we're like busy planning, having more meetings and stuff, but like getting things signed off, rolling it out. Like, so I work on a 12-month schedule, but I do know in 3 years we'll do some amazing stuff. Like about 50 million in 3 years. I'm like,
3 years you'll be overcoming the US and going into Europe, no doubt.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? That's what's exciting about it. Like 10 years in, I'm still excited to come to work every day, and it's really about the amazing people I get to work with.
That's a great response, that one. Adele, what about yourself? How do you see yourself completely modernizing in the next 3 years? I guess for you, it's a little bit different knowing that you've already gone headless, which is probably a trailblazing in a different direction. And with a focus on personalization, what's the next 3 years look like for you?
Totally agree with Sandradee, because I don't want to plan for 3 years. Definitely. We are planning right now a quarterly basis, and we have goals to achieve within each quarter. And again, we are looking at the micro level nowadays to really make sure that we are achieving our goals. And at the same time, but I would say one thing is, you just in e-commerce world, you should be ready for any experimentation. And the things that I learned, or in this e-commerce industry learns, is by doing experimentation. So just be ready for that. Just be ready for disruption. Go for lean startup methodologies. That was a success for us. That's how we're going to sustain our business over the next few years.
Amazing. And Lauren, giving a holistic approach again, I guess I kind of, again, like I said at the start, I like hearing your perspective because you're speaking to so many different retailers in this scenario. What do you think the key trend for modernizing the store is going to be as we move forward? If not 3 years, 12 months, what do you kind of think?
Yeah, I know it's like 3 years. We keep saying 3 years. That's crazy right now. Well, I think just like first and foremost, from just like the Unbxd perspective, what we want to do personally is just reach out to more retail stores and e-commerce shops that are out there. And with kind of kickstarting 2021, with Adobe and our Google Cloud partnerships, we're absolutely a step towards that objective right now. But for modernizing e-commerce stores, I think just with the amount of traffic that we've been seeing and that we're going to continue to see, the time is really now for again, e-commerce stores to give their shoppers a meaningful experience. And really, you do that through those 3 parts. So I think if you haven't invested in an intelligent AI site search solution, that would kind of be, first and foremost, covering that. And then looking into dynamic category pages. Again, I feel like sometimes category pages can often get overlooked in that sense. So just investing into a solution that can rank the products for you, look at the freshness of products, newness, starvation, and so on, and just kind of removing any of those IT dependencies and just kind of take that over for you and any of those manual efforts. And then also, and Adeel touched on this earlier, but product recommendations, right? So how are you making the experience meaningful for your consumer, every step of the way? Are the recommendations that are being offered relevant to what they are looking for? So I think just kind of touching on those 3 key areas, or just making that initial investment and is by doing that, that's going to have your customers coming back for more.
Brilliant. Thank you for that one. I think, and I see Rob in the audience has mentioned, totally agree. The next 12 months is perfect. Nobody needs a 5-year plan sitting on a shelf. I do love that because I think this will be my 12th year outside of university. And I just think back to all the archaic things we were taught then that just kind of tried to squash the entrepreneurial spirit in most people. And it's really nice to see now that kind of everyone saying, well, actually, let's just, why have the goals there? Why can't we keep moving the goalposts and keep growing? Like, I think everyone here has mentioned that their targets of the growth period for the next year kind of grew. So they went to the next level, they went to the next level, and it's been so successful. My final question, which I love to ask on every session, and I've got Lauren at the bottom of my screen now, so I'll go Lauren, Sandradee, Adeel, sorry for this one. What's your one key takeaway from this conversation that if the audience is just going to have one thing around how to modernize their store, what's your number one key bit of advice?
That I think we're in a very competitive market, right? So the consumer wants to feel like their journey is personalized and relevant. So I think just touching on that and being able to deliver that at scale is crucial now more than ever. Again, just kind of considering that we're having people, shop online that maybe never shopped online before. Like you said, I think your grandma, you mentioned earlier, Ashley. So stuff like that. So I think just knowing that, and it's only going to increase. Just giving your customers that personalized experience is going to go very far.
Amazing. Sandradee?
Mine's like, keep it simple and make sure it serves the customer, the business, and your team. These should always be in alignment. And it's like finding that balance between being lean and scalable as well. Like I don't know, like there's so many shiny, all sorts of different things out there and stuff, but you got to make sure that it really serves your customer and in the business and your team as well.
Perfect. No, I love that. I love the team mantra that you have as well. It always makes me quite happy. I think for the audience might not have seen, but Sandradee had a post with her company at Christmas time. Every corporate gift she gets, she puts in a giant pile and let everyone go have a pick at one. I think that's one of the most one of the best things I saw at Christmas time. So.
I did keep that beautiful knife that you guys gave me.
Thank you. Thank you.
In my kitchen, and I'm like, I've never had a knife before with my own name on it, so I did keep one or two. But yeah, I love giving away all the wine and food that gets sent to our office at Christmas time, and we make a special lucky dip because I think that those guys do such hard work that everyone from the warehouse to senior management goes in a hat and they pull out numbers, and it's attached to, all the numbers are attached to different gifts, so they all got 2 each.
How good's that? Awesome. Before we run out of time, Adele, I'd love to hear your perspective on this one, the next bit of advice on 2021 and beyond. What's the key takeaway for the audience?
I would say, if you have the right product, just go ahead and, start somewhere. Maybe even it's just a simple Shopify website or Amazon or whatever. Just start from somewhere and you're gonna learn and you're gonna adopt. And again, like, there will be so many third parties that you can use as you grow. There are solutions available. Just don't wait for the best solution available. Just start from somewhere and then improve on top of it.
Amazing.
That's nice. Well said.
Great. Thank you guys. That was absolutely incredible. If I would sum this up in one line, and this is something I've loved doing, is because the conversation's we've gone from here to there, and there's been so many great points, but the one key thing that I keep bringing back is data. Like, know your customers, personalize, create the feeling of, create that customer loyalty through the customer experience. And I think there's been so many great bits of advice on how we can go about it. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, of course, Lauren, Sandradee, Adele. Thank you for taking the time to be part of the panel. It's my pleasure, and I always kind of feel a little bit chuffed to be able to host these conversations because I am definitely in very, very good company here. To the audience, thank you so much for logging in. I do want to do a big reminder. We are going physical, so let's get that whole cheesy thing about let's get physical going. We've got our next month, the Gold Coast show. It's fast approaching. The borders are opening. We're seeing unified Australia for the first time, touch wood. We've got some really exciting presentations. We've got a keynote who's just won the doubles and singles championship at the Australian Open in Dylan Alcott. We've got Daniel Agostinelli doing his first presentation in 10 plus years. Dominic Lamb from the National Retail Association. The list goes on and on and on. But basically, the industry leaders are coming together to talk about what was the year. Like, remember that year? Like, what the hell happened? So we'd love to see you guys up there. To get your tickets and look at the agenda, it's retailglobal.com.au. Thank you again to the panel. I can't stress enough how amazing that was. To the audience, thank you, everyone. And I'm going to log off now and say, see you all on the Gold Coast next month.